Joe Rogan's podcast or something. They kind of just jump in and they're already having a conversation. That's kind of what we did today. But I was going to add that if there was a way, if we could kind of get everything queued up a little in advance, we usually get the show topics settled in around, I don't know, 1:50 if we're doing well, 2:15 if it's running late, kind of aim at 2 o'clock. But if there was a way to get our topics even earlier, maybe we could do some shorts. And I could do like some 60-second shorts about the topics we're going to discuss and blast that out on YouTube, kind of reminding them to come back over for the live show, which you're joining live now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live show on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Intentionally, mind you. Intentionally. This is the Agree to Disagree program because, look, we should be able to have interesting conversations, difficult conversations at times, and we can agree to disagree. We don't have to hate somebody just because we have a different opinion. I mean, Blake and I have had opinions that might not sync up from time to time. What, we're just going to stop talking? No, that's ridiculous. Oh, you should never mix politics, never discuss politics or religion. It's like, that's the most important shit to talk about. Who are you? How did you get here? Is there a soul? Is there something that happens after this earthly experience? Is this a simulation? I don't know whose God is right. Is atheism the right religion to worship at the altar of? We should have interesting conversations. I don't know who decided we're not supposed to be able to talk, but I want us to talk more. That might mean that YouTube and Facebook will delete our accounts. They will shadow ban. They will demonetize. They will derank and deboost and try to do everything possible to screw with the new American media because they don't like conversations about topics that they can't control. Well, as Elon Musk said, they can go fuck themselves. We at the new American media believe that you should have a chance to communicate with us, and it makes the show more interesting. It makes the pot worth stirring. That's who we are, and that's why we started doing this program about 12 years ago. What the hell? Yeah, 12 years ago, back in 2011, and we're happy you found us today. My name is Brian Engelman. I am the host. This guy over here is named Blake Walley. Blake Walley has gotten involved. He heard the siren song of media, and he got involved because he felt the urge. He felt that, not an urge, but kind of a need, Blake, right? You felt the calling. You heard the siren song and you followed where it took you. Maybe not pleasant, maybe a roller coaster ride, maybe extreme ups and some wacky downs, but you're kind of following that intuition in your soul that we need more people to figure out what's really happening on this planet, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I never wanted to get involved in journalism, but I realized that the media was lying and needed more citizen journalists to get involved. So I volunteered.
Absolutely. Blake, tell people where they can find your stuff, please.
TV's Blake Walley on Twitter would be the best spot. Of course, the archive is my website, thenextlevelnews.com.
Excellent.
Most of my work over there. Yes, I've been doing this for 20 years, 10, 12 years. Yes. Podcasting, blogging, vlogging, reporting.
But have you gone to Holland and gone clogging? That's the real question. Blogging, vlogging, and clogging?
No, I have not, but I would.
Because you do like those trifecta of words. You like alliterations and you like rhyming words, right?
So I sure do.
Blogging, vlogging, and clogging.
Right. So if anybody wants to invite me over there and all paid expenses, yes, all expenses paid, vacation to go clogging, I just might do it.
All right. Okay. What if the World Economic Forum invited you over there, all expenses paid? Would you be a little suspicious if they invited Blake the eccentric Walley over? Would you feel like, hey, what are we having for dinner, guys? Guys, am I dinner? Oh, crap. I should have never trusted you, World Economic Forum goons. You wouldn't accept it all.
That might be a deal breaker. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to put myself in that kind of position. No. Okay. Yeah, so I'll have to vet whoever is putting out the invitation. Yeah, no World Economic Forum people.
You will eat Blake and you will be happy. You will own nothing and you will eat bugs. You will eat Blake and you will be happy. Yeah. Yes, but look, we're in a wacky world where stories about pizza are thoroughly debunked, and guess what? It's coming around again. They're letting it out again. Who is that, Blake? What's that song from? Where are those lyrics from?
The Who? I don't know.
When it comes unannounced, and it feels like trading brains with an imbecile for real.
There's two kinds of people with music. The people that can really understand lyrics, like they can hear a song the first time and sing along. And then there's people who don't really hear the lyrics. And you have to actually see them like at a karaoke bar or something and go, oh, that's what they're saying. So people just kind of fill it in. So the people that are, predominantly hear the music or the lyrics. I do not hear the lyrics. So I'm not familiar with that verse, but I'm going to guess it has something to do with James Maynard Keenan or Maynard James Keenan. Is that
Keenan? No, not Maynard James Keenan. Not Maynard James Keenan, but this is another individual, one of the best musicians of our modern era. This is Brandon Boyd from Incubus. It's called When It Comes. It may or may not have something to do with the planet Nibiru coming back around on their cycles and circles. And they did sing about going to stand around till 2012 AD. What are you waiting for? A certain shade of green? I think I grew a gray watching you procrastinate. What are you waiting for? A certain shade of green? But this song, it says, when it comes abrupt, and it feels like trading brains with an imbecile for real. Yes, I feel emphatic about not being static and not buying philosophies that are sold to me at a steal. Just when you thought it was safe to think, in comes mental piracy. I know what I'm looking for cannot be sold to me. I wish they'd all stop trying, because what I want and what I need is and will always be free. When it comes unannounced, and it feels like a matador's taunting me with his reddest red cloth, and I am the bull. Yes, I feel emphatic about not being static and not eating the bullshit that's being fed to me no more, because now I'm full. Yes, it's a incredible song, and the whole album called Make Yourself is a absolute masterpiece. Treat yourselves, everybody. Buy the album, download the album, or go on YouTube and just let it play from beginning to end. It is one of the best things that's been recorded in the past 30 years. That album is fantastic. So anyway, I digress. That was our TNAM music moment. Blake and I have gone to the NAM convention out in Anaheim once or twice or three times. At least once, twice.
Once for me. Yeah.
Three?
That was cool. No, once.
Once, okay.
You go out there all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was another TNAM music segment for the New American Media Music. Okay, so let's jump into what's going on when it comes. Sounds like a bad day. Oh, hey, Deb. Whoa, Deb from SAC. That sounds like a good day. Wait, what? Or a bad day? I don't know. I don't even know what's going on. Okay, let's talk about the breaking news before we get to today's hot topic. I guess let me go backward. I said what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about, is it a hate crime to promote a saying Irish lives matter? Your Irish eyes are smiling. Yeah, there's a
just
song
for saying that sounds like a hate crime, Brian.
just reading what you type sounds like a hate crime. Speaking of hate crimes, are MAGA to blame for Chicago's problems? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about, our civil liberties and our Fourth Amendment rights. Does the government have a right to know who liked and who retweeted Trump? That's tough to say, Blake. Say who liked and retweeted Trump. Say it.
Who liked and retweeted Trump?
Retweeted Trump. That's, it catches you on the downswing. We're also going to
just write it. I don't pronounce them before I write them. So.
No, I know. Blake writes them. I copy paste them, and then I try to read them, and I stumble over because I had no time to kind of run it through. But that's on me.
Fumbles and stumbles. All right.
Yes. We're also going to discuss the contents of Seth Rich's laptop. Should that remain confidential? And of course, our number one story. It's kind of Elon. It's kind of always about Elon because he's one of the biggest advocates for new media. He took over Twitter, calls it X now, and thankfully, at least there's one Wild Wild West website. Like, that's what the internet was supposed to be, Blake. Remember that? Like, when this came out, it was just a free-for-all. And that was the best thing about it. And now it's like everything is micromanaged down to the finest details, and it sucks.
Brian,
we're old enough to remember when the internet was awesome.
Well, Brian, don't you ever feel like, just rage quitting Twitter because you're so disgusted by what the liberals are saying, by what, other people with different points of view? And it makes you so angry, like Keith Olbermann, and you just like, no, I'm never coming to this shitty platform again. Don't you do that like once a week? No?
I mean, is that a thing? Is that no? I guess you're saying that's what the left does. The left can't handle agreeing to disagree. You must agree with everything I say, or else you're a monster. You're literally Hitler, and you have to be erased. Right?
Yeah,
that's
pretty
left.
much.
They are the fascists. Yeah. So they obviously project that and call you a fascist.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get into that. Yeah, I'll get an example too.
All right, we'll get into that, but first, let's get into kind of some of the breaking news of the day. I mean, it was yesterday, but one of the newer stories. Then we'll get to the main topic of today's program coming right up. Here we go. Almost. Here we go. And going. Yes. Let's start. All right, so as you see there, that is the upside down American flag signaling that we are a nation in distress. We are in a perilous time right now, and we are calling upon all of you to pay attention, to be alert, to be aware, and to ramp up your efforts a little bit. Try to be ready to take control of your life, to protect your family, your loved ones, yourself, your neighborhood, your city, your state, your country, because I think one moment the lights are going to go off and it's going to get really wonky. So you better have what you need on hand and be ready to just be a good American and be prepared for all of that stuff. So let's talk about this, shall we? I was trying to find the caption. There we go. Henry Kissinger is dead. Is this the most important story of the day? I don't know about that, but it is very newsworthy. So we'll lead with it at the top of the show. Blake, agree or disagree that the world is a better place without ex-secretary Henry Kissinger?
I'm going to agree. Even though I admire the guy, even though he's, an evil genius, but yes, he is a corrupt warmonger. Yes, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of negatives to go. He also, I believe, was a mentor to the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. So, I mean, he's been in politics for decades, like his whole life, and he lived to 100. So he's been affecting stuff. He's been instrumental in, bombing a lot of different countries, a lot of, just a lot of atrocities and war profiteering. So, but he was a genius. He was, I don't know if you've ever read some of his writings, but his vocabulary is just off the charts. Very interesting character. I admire him, but evil, and the world is probably a better place without him.
Okay. I have something I could start with, and then if you want to, do you have like a list of things you want to discuss? I don't want to steal your thunder, but I did have a post from Spike Cohen, another really fantastic writer. You're familiar with Spike, right? He's, I don't know. How do you describe Spike? You don't know Spike?
Not offhand, no.
Yeah, he's in the libertarian circles. Hang on, let me just click in and see how he describes himself. How do you describe yourself on X, Blake? How do you say that?
Gonzo journalist, eccentric INTJ, former Vegas bartender, Sigma Enigma. I haven't put that on there yet. Ruthless truth teller.
What's a Sigma Enigma? You like the rhyme.
Do you know what a Sigma male is, Brian?
I've heard of beta. I've heard of alpha. Yep. I used to be a houseboy at Sigma Kappa. What does Sigma mean?
Sigma is like another like the male archetypes. So they're kind of outside of the spectrum. They're kind of considered just as like the more introverted alpha. So that's where I fit in, because I've always known I'm not an alpha, but I'm definitely not a beta. So where do I fit in? There's a few other little subcategories, and one of them is Sigma.
Gotcha. So. Okay. Well, Spike defines himself as founder and president of YATP Official, vice presidential 2020 vice presidential bronze medalist. So they came in third. He ran for, I believe he was on the Libertarian Party. So Anyway, let's just go back to what he had pulled up here. It says, yesterday, Henry Kissinger died in the comfort of his home, surrounded by loved ones. He will no doubt receive a hero's funeral, courtesy of the U.S. taxpayer. The corporate media will lavish him with praise, only occasionally noting his notoriety and the controversy surrounding his foreign policy. Sadly, the millions of victims of that policy over the course of the past 7 decades weren't afforded the same luxuries. To the Vietnamese, Cambodians, Laotians, that's a weird word, Laotians, Bangladeshis, and many other people around the world, Henry Kissinger was the equivalent of a Himmler or Göring to them. Kissinger was one of the most influential people in the U.S. government in his lifetime, and one of the ones most responsible for our decline into imperialism. Yes, that's a decline into imperialism. The millions dead, the tens of millions displaced, the hundreds of millions still suffering from the devastation of his wars. And that's before we get into the tens of thousands of U.S. troops sacrificed at the altar of his policies, and the millions more who continue to suffer from the trauma they were left with. That's before we get into the burdens caused by spending trillions on war, running up debt to pay for it, leaving generations not even born yet to pay it with interest, and creating money out of thin air to finance the debt, thereby devaluing our money and causing the cost of living to continuously skyrocket. Simply put, Henry Kissinger created a vicious monster, and while he's gone now, it lives on. If it's allowed to remain, millions more will suffer in the future, maybe even billions. Let's end it for good and bury it right next to him. What say you, Blake?
No, that's good stuff. Interesting writing there, Brian. Yes, I'm not familiar. I'll have to check that one out. But I think I'm going to just leave it for, well, let's see. I've got a couple quick things to add to that.
Tell me you have Anthony Bourdain pulled up.
I do. Oh,
of course you do.
Speaking of Sigma males, I think he died before that kind of became a thing, because I've always tried to figure this out. Like, well, what am I? But I think he also absolutely fits the type of what a Sigma male is. So we'll pull that one up here. The first one I've got real quick is just.
And by the way, while you pull that up, I will just to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Spike Cohen. Yeah, he's a great follow. He's a very thoughtful, interesting, intelligent, witty, sarcastic, brash, and blunt. He's a really, really fantastic writer, much like Anthony Bourdain. But he was the Libertarian Party's nominee for Vice President of the United States in 2020, serving as Joe Jorgensen's running mate. He's 41 years old. So there you go. Spike Cohen.
Okay. Well, good stuff. All right. Well, Henry Kissinger, dead at 100. Interesting. Well, to say one of the last things that he was known for was maybe, speaking out against, the grave mistake to let in so many with the immigration problems that we're seeing in so many different countries worldwide, and this rise of globalism, that was a bad thing. So I think PJW, Paul Joseph Watson, said something that's kind of like a deathbed confession. It was a grave mistake to let in so many people of different culture and religious concepts.
That might be one of the few areas where I'm going to agree with this guy. People should have some space to be themselves and just kind of be themselves without. Yeah, I think this mass migration push of his and the rest of the globalists, it's really bad for everybody, really. But yeah, that's a very interesting point. Because he recently said that, right? That was something very fresh, a very fresh.
Yeah, I think in the last couple of years or so. Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually about a month ago. So at least that tweet is from about a month ago. So
it's just like a lot of things. Blake is a bartender. Blake and I, for those of you that don't know, Blake and I have been bartenders.
Anthony Bourdain was also a bartender, but we'll keep this quick, Brian, because we've only got about a.
No, I'm just saying, with immigration, the rudimentary point that I'm going to make. There's a formula to make a drink, and when you put too much Kahlua in, when you put too much citron, when you add a little bit too much of the Goldschlager, when you're a little too heavy on the tequila, when it gets out of balance, it just changes. I don't know. A little bit will go a long way, but when it just gets lopsided, like 10 million unvetted people flooding across the southern border, it changes the drink. It turns it into something it's not. And that's
were you making an oatmeal cookie, Brian?
Yeah, you know, there was a little bit. I didn't mention Jägermeister, but yeah, Goldschlager, Bailey's, Jaeger.
Yeah, I don't know if you always need to make it. There's variations, but anyway.
True.
I digress as well. But let's get to speaking of drinks and bars and former bartenders and Sigma males and people who are not fans of Henry Kissinger. We have Anthony Bourdain on what he would do to Henry Kissinger and why he despised him so much. I know immediately after the death, they were. I saw this quote popping up everywhere from Bourdain because he's been all over the world. Part of his show, once you've been to Cambodia, you'll never stop wanting to beat Henry Kissinger to death with your bare hands. Yes, you'll never be able to open a newspaper and read about that treacherous, prevaricating, murderous scumbag sitting down for a nice chat with Charlie Rose or attending some black tie affair for a new glossy magazine without choking. Witness what Henry did in Cambodia, the fruits of his genius for statesmanship, and you will never understand why he's not sitting in the dock at the Hague next to Milosevic. So here we go.
Kissinger walks into a bar. Sounds like a joke. Henry Kissinger and a penguin walk into a bar. I'm not asking what you do, but what would it displease you if I walked over and punched Henry Kissinger in the face? Would you find that entertaining?
I would.
Would you have a frisson of pleasure even? Would you feel that justice is in some small way served?
You hate Henry Kissinger.
I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Because in my travels, I stumble across his good works everywhere I go.
Right. Let's do this.
A rabbit punch.
No kidney punch.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Oh, my.
All right. Cheers to the end of a legend, Henry Kissinger.
Yeah, I had a thought there. What was it? What did he say right before? I stumble across his good work. The other thing, you know, Blake, if I were to say who is to blame for taking the U.S. off the gold standard, you would say
Nixon, but yeah, probably advised by Kissinger. Yeah,
it was Kissinger. It was Kissinger that pushed Nixon to do it and to back the U.S. dollar to depeg it off of a gold standard of actual value and then linking it to oil that fluctuates wildly and all the massive rampant inflation with all the imperialistic global, you know, these ridiculous wars you have. Once again, musicality, you have Alice in Chains singing "Here They Come to Snuff the Rooster" about somebody who goes off to Vietnam and he comes back just spit on in his own homeland. And you know, I mean, generations were ruined by these ridiculous wars. Bourdain talking about Cambodia, Vietnam. It's all part of this Kissinger, George W. Bush, or George H.W. Bush. Everything that's devalued the dollar, that's spread us thin at the homeland, that's ramped up inflation. It's just, it's all a part of what he represented. Yeah, smart guy, but equally smart guy, Anthony Bourdain. I had to look up the word prevaricate. Did you know what that one meant, Blake? Prevaricate?
No,
That's
like Henry Kissinger vocabulary stuff.
It is. In context, it says he seemed to prevaricate when journalists asked pointed questions. It means to speak or act in an evasive way. Evasive speech. Prevarication.
He's a very dark and deceptive human being. If we want to, maybe human, I don't know. Maybe he was a
lizard person.
Yes. A lizard. The lizard people, yeah.
The lizards, I tell you, lizards. Okay, well, there he goes. I mean, the legacies are complicated. We obviously touched on a lot of the negative. By the way, Blake, did you see, not Gerald Ford, did you see Carter at the service for his wife?
No, but he's like 4 feet tall. He's shrinking.
Oh, Blake, it is. He's been in hospice for a very long time. He looks awful. I pray for them and their family. Like, he was an awful president, but like, wow, it is a slow exit stage left. Anyway, it was hard to look at this man. But anyway, yeah, legacies are complicated. There's good and there's bad and there's stuff in between and there's question marks. But anyway, there he goes, Henry Kissinger. Let's move on to the next topic. All right. You can't stay out of the headlines, Blake. Agree or disagree that advertisers that are blackmailing Elon should go somewhere and do something to themselves?
I 100% agree, and that's pretty that's an awesome moment that he actually called it out. I believe it was just live on the CNBC, I think.
It was maybe a division of CNBC. I assume you have the clip, but he also calls out Bob Iger directly, the head of Disney, ABC, ESPN, that monstrous, awful company. Does nothing but censor and everything woke starts and ends with ABC, ESPN, Disney. And he calls Bob Iger out right to his face. Bob, I think you're out there in the audience, he says at one point. Yeah. But walk us through it, Blake. Do you have the clip to pull up for us? And there were a couple of nice sound bites to come out of this one.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very memorable, I think it's, 5 minutes or so, but I won't run all of it. But let's pull up a piece of it. Thank you, Brian. Yes, gotcha. Go F yourself. Elon Musk slams advertisers trying to blackmail him with ad boycotts. So he says, don't advertise, Musk said during an interview. 2023 New York Times Deal Book Summit. So let's just watch this explosive
apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers. We talked to Bob Iger today. I hope they stop.
The context that I didn't know where it was coming in. He was talking about where he sent a tweet and said, this is literally true or something, talking about the ADL going after to denigrate and try to ruin companies that don't march lockstep with them and try to limit speech. And he responded to some tweet along those lines and said, this is literally true. And so now the context is, so you went to Israel and now you're on this apology tour. What's going on with that? So sorry, it didn't kind of set up the question there and it just jumped into it. I wanted to add that. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Good stuff. All right. Let's get back.
You hope don't advertise. You don't. This had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today. I hope they stop. You hope don't advertise.
I hope
you don't want them to advertise? No. What do you mean?
Did you say pause, Brian?
No, I'm kind of repeating what he's saying. He doesn't want them. He doesn't want the people that are trying to blackmail him. He's like, what? You don't want their money? He's like, what? The people trying to blackmail me? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's insane. Yeah, they'll be willing to throw a lot of money at you, but they want to control where, how it's being spent and control the narrative and information online. It's disgusting. So he's not going to go for it, which is awesome. So, and he said it at this summit, and he was quite eloquent about it.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
Everyone's like, they don't know how to react.
A muted chuckle ripples through the crowd. A muted chuckle.
It's like, no way, did that really just happen? And then
you could hear the pearls getting clenched.
Yep.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Spell it out for everybody, but that's great. Then we get the laugh. Yes, you're allowed to react. This is the proper response to this.
Light laughter, sparse light laughter emitted from the pursed lips of some of the pearl clutchers in the uptight crowd. Yes.
Yeah, and this guy probably freaking out here is Andrew Sorkin.
Now, at a debate that would kill. At a debate that would be only Rosie O'Donnell. The crowd is really on pins and needles here. It's an interesting reaction because he delivers the punchline and it was kind of like crickets and a couple of claps and a ha. Like it didn't really land. It sort of landed. It landed for everybody else, just not for the people in the room. And whoever this guy is that's doing the interview,
Sorkin, yeah.
Well, let it keep playing. I'll shut up. But it's interesting how he tries to veer it back on track, and he doesn't really know how to.
Yeah, he's just the corporate journalist, just blindsided by this and doesn't know how to respond. And I don't blame him.
I hope it is. Hey, Bob. Here in the audience.
Too bad we can't get Bob's him on video and get his immediate reaction.
Oh, come on. Listen,
well, let me
Blake,
ask.
if they have Lauren Boebert on a night out with her date, why can't we get some footage of Bob Iger's reaction? Like, remember when Donald Trump, before he was the president, he was at that, I don't know what that was, some correspondence dinner or something, the press dinner, and Obama was making fun of him, and they show his reaction, his no reaction to the joke about him, and like they said, that was the moment that he decided, I'm running for president. I'm gonna take that guy's job. I'm doing this. Like, that was the moment that they point to. There's got to be I would love to see Bob Iger's face as well. I agree.
Yeah, I think on those big dinners, they usually look for reactions, but on this one, I don't think they were expecting anything like that. It was just going to be Elon and Andrew Sorkin doing an interview up there. So there's no footage, but if there is, that would be spectacular.
Ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about?
All right, great stuff. Yes. All right.
Oh, wait, you don't have where it continues? Because then he brings up Linda Yaccarino. Like, how do you think she feels? You know, like I think some concessions were made. Like, look, we're going to put our WEF puppet in there. And he calls her up. But then you hear Elon. He starts stuttering and stammering. I don't know if you have that part of it.
Yeah, there's several parts of it. I don't have all of the clips to go into depth on this particular subject.
Because Linda is like his handler, kind of that go-between.
Came from the World Economic Forum, and so one of the things that I guess I can discuss. So she was kind of in a tough spot there, and so but she ultimately defended him. So let me pull up a tweet here. It says, today Elon gave a wide-ranging and candid interview at the DealBook 2023. He also offered an apology, an explanation, and an explicit point of view about our position. X is enabling an information independence that's uncomfortable for some people. We're a platform that allows people to make their own decisions. And here's my perspective when it comes to advertising. X is standing at a unique and amazing intersection of free speech and Main Street. And the X community is powerful and is here to welcome you. To our partners who believe in our meaningful work, thank you. And so, yeah, that's it. This is an American platform. We celebrate free speech. We should always have the ability to have some kind of, civil discourse. And especially now, as divided as it is, and they should not be, in a position where the media is completely controlled and advertisers are, threatening, our free speech systems or controlling social media. It was, crawling with feds before this that were interfering with narratives and possibly the election.
Now, Facebook still is crawling with feds. Facebook still is.
Yeah, and I'm sure, there's probably still some moles within Twitter X. There's still plenty of, shadow banning and shenanigans happening. So they're still working on that, but at least there's been a major purge of some of the major people that were in there controlling things. Because it used to be, great up until Trump won the election in 2016, and then these companies started really freaking out, and then they were infiltrated and controlled until Elon bought it. But just to give a point of view from the crazy leftists who do freak out and have panic attacks anytime their rivals have any sway on there. Let's pull up this guy, Evan Hurst. I think he's he's the managing editor at Wonket, which is an extreme leftist platform. I think that was one of the questions that we also had about corporate journalists losing their minds over Elon Musk. And here's where he was just deliberately calling out Linda, saying that it looks like Linda endorses Elon Musk choosing Nazis which is totally disingenuous. But somebody like Evan, and I'm not trying to point it out to, personally, but these people are kind of victims of their own propaganda. They're drinking their own Kool-Aid. They're smoking their own dope. Evan here will probably still believes that, Trump is a Russian asset. And so many of the other pieces of propaganda that have been shot down over the years that they've been perpetuating on the people. And so he would like to see controlling of information. But saying, Elon Musk choosing Nazis, that's not fair, over his fiduciary duties to help people financing him and his responsibility. So he's got a responsibility to companies that advertise, like he's supposed to, bend over and, shut down anybody who has any kind of controversial point of view, or even just if you're MAGA and you're not. So they've been, threatening these advertisers for years, and Media Matters got caught big time, and they're going to get sued into oblivion. I certainly hope for what they've done.
I believe Truth Social just joined that lawsuit as well. I think Rumble did.
Yeah, I mean they are. It's funny because it's irony is that they're attacking democracy, even though they think they're pro-democracy, but they're just trying to shut down their opposition because they want to control the narrative. And so he's just saying, yeah, they're like, Elon has a a responsibility, basically to free speech, civil discourse, not to bend to the will of companies that want to soften all the language.
And like we said, it's not just companies like ABC, ESPN, Disney. It's also ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. They're it's
APAC and
ADL, and it's not just them. It's
Poverty Law Center. Yeah, it's many.
1,000 of them. It's anybody in that professional outrage space. You're not going to have fundraising unless there's a boogeyman to. It's like Lisa Simpson on Talking with Homer. The bear, they're having a bear problem in Springfield, and Lisa says, well, by that logic, by that spurious logic, Dad, I have a rock, and this prevents bears from coming around. And Homer goes, Lisa, I would like to purchase your rock. And then, like, she's saying this rock doesn't do anything, and then Homer's so thirsty for something to fix it. So it ends up in this weird cycle where you have to keep finding boogeymen everywhere you're looking, or else there's no point to your existence. So you blow things out of proportion and you turn everything into an outrage where none of it needs to be. But it turns into blackmail culture. It really does turn into hostage situations. We will hold your company hostage. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. I mean, the professional shakedown artists of all stripes have been around for decades and decades, probably since the beginning of time. But I think he's right to say, if you're a company that's going to try to do this, here's something you can do with yourself. And I think in that narrow constraint of what he's literally talking about, he's not saying I don't want advertisers' money. He's saying, you that are trying to strong arm me and into restricting what I do here, go pound sand. And that is very admirable. That's exactly what you want to say.
I don't know. One of us froze, Brian. I don't know if it was me or you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yep. You're back.
Good to have you back. Yeah. And Elon is saying, this is an interesting article as well. I mean, there's many things that were snippets that came out of this interview, saying he cares about the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. What I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. So you're going to kind of point out like the Andrew Sorkin guy. I don't think it's evil, but I mean, a lot of these they're like corporate stooges that just they're good company men that do what they're told. They don't make waves, and they try to kind of keep everybody in the box and not get outside or get exposed too much. So it's weird the way that corporate journalists now they're just trying to make money and stick to the talking points rather than make waves and hold powerful people accountable, which is supposed to be their job. That's what journalism is. But
that's what our journalism is. Their stuff is just corporate spokesholes. I forget who coined that term. I don't know if that was a Rush Limbaugh thing, but calling him a spokeshole. But yeah, that phrase, I mean, whether it's the press secretary for the president of the United States or whether it's Anderson Cooper, the CIA asset right up there at CNN telling you what the news is for the day, it's not. They're just, here's your script, monkey, now dance. Okay. And they dance. Jimmy Kimmel does it with his shows. Stephen Colbert does it with his. It's like, here's the script. You hate Trump. Yes, we hate Trump. By the way, did that check clear? Oh, it cleared. By the way, we'll send your family off to this nice little vacation on St. James Island or wherever they go. Okay. Now keep dancing, monkey. I'll dance. They do as they're told. People like you and me, we're on the outside. We just do what feels right. Elon is saying, like it's not about putting on a front of doing good while you're doing the wrong stuff. It's about actually doing the right stuff. It's about doing the good work, trying to holding dangerous people accountable for dangerous ideology. And that's maybe the Henry Kissinger story. Very capable, very sharp, very influential, very destructive. And with the ripple effect of what he did for 70 years, we're feeling it today. All these years after, we're still feeling it today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we got to get back to that. Yeah, now they've kind of consolidated all of the major media companies. Now there's only like 5 or 6 left.
Well, they're legacy media, and they are losing their viewers, Blake. That is the one great thing we can say. They are losing their people because the people see it. The people have seen it more clearly in the past 10 years than they've ever seen it before. And they're voting with their dollars. They're not shopping at Target. They're not signing up for Disney Plus. Oh, by the way, did you see the movie that's coming out on Daily Wire Plus? I know you're not a Daily Wire fan, but did you see?
Not that I'm not a Daily Wire fan, but I've been very critical
of their ship.
Shapiro.
Yeah, you're not a fan of the captain of their ship, but they're doing a parody movie.
Yeah.
Did you see the comedy movie about guys playing in girls' sports with Tyler?
It was Jeremy Boring. He's brilliant. I like a lot of what he does. They have some sharp people on there. I'm deeply skeptical of Ben Shapiro. To me, he's just like a Israeli intelligence infiltrator. But yeah, he brings a lot of money and a lot of clicks. He's got the audience, I guess. I don't know. I find it show unwatchable, but not a side issue. Right.
Friday. I do want to watch that. It looks very funny. I think Tyler Fisher is one of the best comedians I've seen in the past 5 years, for sure. Guy consistently cracks me up. Does some of the best impressions out there. Okay. Any other commentary on Elon Musk and his comments and the expert?
Yeah, real quick, because I don't have a ton of time left, but I do want to point this out from another great journalist here, Kanakoa the Great, saying Glenn Greenwald says corporate journalists are losing their minds, calling out the major corporations for stifling free speech because they are in bed with the very corporations they claim to scrutinize. Glenn Greenwald explains that we're at a crossroads where journalism, once a watchdog of establishment power, is now shackled by corporate advertisers. And what went wrong here is not what Elon Musk said. It's so revealing that so many journalists are aghast that anybody would dare tell Disney and major corporations to go fuck yourself when they're trying to limit, censor, and control the flow of political content. If you aren't willing to say that to corporations who are trying to limit what you can say, then don't bother calling yourself a journalist. And I completely agree.
Well said. Who said that? That was Greenwald?
Glenn Greenwald.
Greenwald's another national treasure.
He's one of the real ones.
Greenwald, Schellenberger, Spike Cohen. Yeah, when you find some good people to follow as consistent creators of original content, it makes you smarter listening to really well-spoken ideas. He's one of the best out there. Okay, anything else on this?
Nope. We better run. I got about 23 minutes.
All right, let's go. Is that rust on the agree or disagree sign, or are those bullet holes? Either way, I like it. I
didn't notice that. I'm going to guess it's just rust, but who knows?
All right, so next time we'll have to double check when we play that. It's called a stinger, right? That
yeah, Fair enough.
Okay, by the way, if you value independent media, follow Blake on X. He's at TV's Blake Walley and The Next Level News. We do a show called The Agree to Disagree Show. Search for The Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and sign up for the podcast, please. We need to boost those numbers. We're very new to the podcast space. I've never downloaded one. I never used one, so I've never cared to put it out, but now we are, because we want to be in all the places for when we anticipate YouTube and Facebook taking us down. So find The Agree to Disagree Show on Facebook. What's that?
You're like an old boomer. Don't even know what a podcast is. I mean, my God.
You're older than me, sir. Anyway,
I know I'm older than you. I'm more like savvy than you on that.
Find the Agree. I'm catching up. I'm working on it. I also tried to sign up for the Apple Podcasts, but I had a problem with the RSS feed. I'm not sure what to do next. Maybe you could assist me with linking that. I don't know how it works or what to do, but I've tried for the 10th time to get it on Apple. I don't know what to do, but anyway, maybe you can assist me, but find the New American Media on Rumble. Search The New American Media on Rumble and the Agree to Disagree Show. Find us, the Agree to Disagree Show, on the private Facebook group. Go to Instagram. I think it's Instagram.com/The New American Media. Find us there. On X, we are at American_Media_. And on Telegram, search TNAM for the New American Media or TNAM Chat and find us in those groups. Okay, next, Blake. We also are going to link up to the civil rights abuses and the Fourth Amendment abuses, the big tech corporate collusion. That's called fascism. It's when corporations and government collide. But agree or disagree that the government has a right to know who liked and retweeted Trump?
Absolutely not. Not in this country. But I guess, according to some of these crazy leftists, they certainly want to get their hands on that stuff. Now you got Jack Smith demanding information on Americans who just for favorited or retweeted Trump tweets. I mean, that is just absolutely outrageous. That is such an overreach and such just flaming fascism. It's unbelievable.
And you know what, by the way, it kind of it shows you their hand that they had all that information in advance. Prior to Elon taking over, they had all of that at their disposal so they could target individuals, so that they could weaponize their Justice Department. They could weaponize their IRS. They could weaponize even down to local law enforcement, like everything possible to harass American citizens that did not agree and drink their ridiculous rancid Kool-Aid, Blake. To me, that's what it screams. We were doing this all along, and you took it away from us. And now they found out they were still trying to do it again. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, Blake, but do you think I'm reading too much into that? Do you think they've had that for a long time? Because I say you need to be prepared for when the lights go out, because I think we're all on a list. When it happens, we're going to be specifically targeted. You could be sitting there wherever you are across this great land, across this earth. They know where you are. They have your IP address. They know where your cell phone is pinging. When the attack starts, they're going to your house. They know who you've retweeted. They know what tweets you favorited. They have a list, Blake. They have a very big list of
like Santa Claus,
globalist good people, because they are the bad people.
Yep. The naughty list has all the nice list, and they want to go after people so that they're scared. They're kind of like cornered rats, and so they're afraid of having the good people and the peasants getting their pitchforks and coming after them. So they're preemptively going after the patriots. So this is it's a chill factor. So you got special counsel Jack Smith demanding info on Americans come on. Favorited or retweeted. So if you just saw, hey, a Trump tweet and thought it was fun and you liked it, you're going to go on a list from this special counsel goon. So that's leading up to the January 6th event. According to a heavily redacted search warrant and other documents that were released this week, Smith's comprehensive search warrant sought the 2024 Republican presidential primary frontrunners' search history, direct messages, and content of all tweets created, drafted, favorited, liked, or retweeted by his account from October 2020 to January 2021. Special counsel also demanded a list of all devices used to log into Trump's then Twitter, and as well as information on users who interacted with the then president in the months leading up to the event. So Special counsel also requested a list of every user that Trump followed, unfollowed, muted, unmuted, blocked, or unblocked. And then an FBI agent wrote, there is no benign or reasonable justification for that demand. Smith demanded the information as part of a special counsel investigation into Trump's actions with the Capitol, and he formally lodged a 4-count indictment against Trump, accusing him of a massive criminal conspiracy to reverse the results of the 2020 election. It's been shown that it seems like there's been FBI embedded in these social media companies that were controlling information, such as suppressing the Hunter laptop story and many other things, and just shadow banning people that were speaking out, that were critical of the administration that they wanted to see take over. So anyway, so this is good that this is being exposed. Let me pull up a quick video clip from Josh Hawley.
Oh yeah, he's another one of the good ones. Okay, I was wondering who's on the Trump bench. Hawley's a good one.
Yeah, so let's roll this one.
When China was in the middle of their brutal crackdown. And do you know what they did? They turned Hong Kong into a police state. They turned every CCTV camera all over that city on the protesters. They followed them on their social media. They tracked them on their phones. When you look at what Jack Smith is doing here, it looks like the same exact thing. This is CCP tactics, communist China tactics used against the American people. When China,
yeah, pretty much. So there we go. It's pretty terrifying. So yeah, great that Elon is doing something and is taking over this platform. It's really freaking a lot of the establishment and all of the corporate media hacks who like things as they were. And of course, they don't want to. They're worried about eventually the people finding out the truth and retaliating against the people that were basically, using CCP style tactics. This is the United States of America, and we don't do that here.
Well, we have since Obama. That's for damn sure.
Well, Patriot Act under Bush and Cheney, yes, it's been going on for quite a while.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
I could say Bill Clinton. We could go back a ways, but yes, they've deep state definitely took over, especially after they took out Kennedy.
Which is why we have to get to the bottom of it. Okay. Also, Hunter Biden is going to he's going to go in for questioning. That was another story that didn't make the stack, but kind of related. It's coming out, all these abuses, and the 51 intelligence officials claiming that Hunter's laptop was fake. That was fake. That was all a psyop to try to put Biden into
They should all be brought up to face some questions about that as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else on this?
No.
Time for lightning round-ish.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic here. We are going to ask this question. This could easily be a leading story. Agree or disagree, Blake, that the contents of the Seth Rich laptop should remain confidential? Agree or disagree?
Agree. It should be confidential for 66 years until everybody is long dead and gone and forgotten about Seth Rich.
How about 66.6 years while we're at it, right?
Yeah, why not? That sounds about right. Yeah, 66 years, 6 months.
They tried to do the same thing with Seth Rich that they did with Kennedy. Think about it. Think about what they know happened. And this was one of the stories.
They don't want you to think about what happened.
The story about Italian, the story about delicious Italian circles with pepperoni. Seth Rich. There's a few stories that we covered that definitely put us on that shadow ban roster, and we've never recovered from it. We've never been able to. Our reach is down. We broadcast live. Nobody gets the alerts. Nobody sees that we're broadcasting. Our numbers are artificially deranked and deboosted and demonetized. They don't like these stories coming up. 66 years they wanted to hide this story. This wasn't killing a president in broad daylight. This was the guy that got the information about. He was the not he was the Bernie Sanders supporter working at the DNC. Just go ahead. Tell us what we know about this.
Yeah, yes, exactly. He was a Bernie Sanders guy, was the DNC in the election, and realized that they rigged it. It was Hillary Clinton.
Completely rigged it in 2016, 2015.
And exposed that, brought the information, allegedly gave it to, it found its way to Julian Assange.
Assange, another guy that's being persecuted. Why? You tell me why. Is he lying? Is he framing people like Hillary and Obama? I think people framing innocent people should be the ones persecuted, not the truth tellers. Call me naive.
Right. Yeah. Things have changed. So yeah, it was very embarrassing for the DNC, and they ended up getting Seth. They found out who it was, allegedly. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the head of the DNC, actually had to step down. It's kind of a big internal scandal. And they went after Seth Rich, but they said it was, was a botched robbery, but nobody was buying that.
And nothing was stolen.
Yeah, but then why is the FBI been holding on to his laptop for all these years? And why are they trying to hold on to it for 66 years if there's nothing to hide?
Maybe there's a little bit of frazzle dazzle on there. What'd I say? Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But now the FBI must provide information from Seth Rich's laptop computer to a Texas man. A federal judge ruled on November 28th. The Bureau's attempted challenge an earlier order to produce the information failed to persuade U.S. District Judge Amos Mazant, who said that the Bureau's assertion of exemptions to a federal law were unsupported. So Judge Mazant, he's actually appointed under Obama, ordered the FBI in September 2022 to hand over information from the Rich's computer to the Texas man who had asked for it under the Freedom of Information Act. The FBI claimed that Mr. Rich's family members had a privacy interest in the information that outweighed the public interest, but a claim that Judge Mazant rejected. But the Bureau said in a motion for reconsideration that he did not appear to weigh exemptions in the Freedom of Information Act request that would allow the agency to keep withholding the information. And the judge placed a hold on his ruling until he weighed in on the motion. But in the new ruling, which came more than a year after the motion.
It took a year?
Yeah, another year after he.
Come on, a year.
Well, yeah, but at least it's better than 66 years, but we'll see, because it's going to be a couple more weeks, so we'll see if they try to do some other kind of motion to hold it up. But why would they? Are they really just trying to protect the family, or are they trying to protect the secrets of the DNC and the deep state?
God bless this judge, and I'm so sorry to hear about his paddleboarding incident tomorrow.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen, and let's hope that this laptop does get released and we find out. And because the American people, I feel bad for the parents. I felt like they were smothered by DNC lawyers who told them a different story, and it's clear that it's bad for the administration.
And didn't the dad come out and try to ask people to stop talking about it? I vaguely remember that too. A family member came out and was just kind of like Jenna Ellis, like you can almost see the barrel of the gun at the edge of the videotape where she's completely changing her tune and trying to ask people to stop. Like, you're gonna hurt me if you make me talk about this anymore. I'm in no way, by the way, mocking that family, that poor family. Like, I grieve for you. I think it's bullshit. I hate that your kid was executed like this, assassinated, really, to cover up more of the Clinton shenanigans and the deep state.
Yeah, but he should be a hero. He is
a hero.
Yeah, he is a hero, and he'll be even more of a hero once he's a whistleblower, posthumously. He went through all that trouble and paid the ultimate price for it. We should find out what's going on here. So
absolutely. Okay, so that's in the news. You said a couple weeks we'll get more info on that.
Well, it's supposed to given them like 2 weeks to release this. So unless the FBI can have a good persuasive argument on why people don't deserve to see it, he's got 14 days. The government asked for 66 years.
That's insane.
Yeah.
The government, 66 years of secrecy on an assassination. Okay, well, then we will follow this story and bring you an update as it arrives. Anything else on this one?
Not for now. We'll certainly
next
be covering it soon.
Got it. To be continued. Here we go. All right, Blake, agree or disagree that right-wing extremists are to blame for the problems in Chicago?
Disagree. That's completely insane. You did show me this clip earlier, so I'm going to post this up. This is from the mayor of Chicago. Of course, they can't ever accept blame and just say, hey, maybe some of our policies aren't as effective as we thought, even though it's been in good faith or what have you. But, it's just easier to project and blame your opponents. And we've been seeing this for too long. So now we get just Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson laying out and blaming right-wing extremists for all of Chicago's problems. Says Republicans are mad that black people are free. Left always blames others for the problems.
What a nutbag. Good Lord.
So
what a disgusting human to say something like that. What a vile creature. Screw him.
Did you like who was that troll they had before? I forgot her name already.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah. Is that a Rahm Emanuel? God, they've had some awful mayors there in that once great city of Chicago. But let's
all of our American cities, man. Like, I love the great American cities, but they have allowed them to fall to trash. It is intentional. It's an intentional takedown. It is absolute subversion and treason what they've done to these cities. All right, play this guy's full clip.
Well, it has to be better coordination. What we've seen is a very raggedy form instituted by right-wing extremism. Everyone knows that the right-wing extremism in this country has targeted democratically ran cities, and quite frankly,
they're criticizing these Democrat-run cities. Yes, that should be fair game.
By the way, raggedy, is that
going after democratic?
I don't know.
Ran cities
maybe rewind it a moment.
I
don't know if I don't know if we're.
No, I just wonder if that's a dog whistle as well. He's trying to use all these racial buzzwords, but then he goes out and uses a word like raggedy. That's either Raggedy Ann or that's a kind of a loaded word, but okay, let him continue.
Here we go.
Cities that are led by people of color, and their whole motivation is to create disruption and chaos.
So they're saying like they're targeting him because he's people of color. I remember we criticized Rahm Emanuel quite a bit too.
And the point is to cause chaos and disruption? No, it's to fix your failing shithole city. I love Chicago, and I hate how dangerous it is. They call it Chirac, and they've called it Chirac for decades. You have no grip on all the gang violence out there. Get a grip, pal. We want to fix America. We don't want it to be a third world hellhole where you can't even walk down the street without getting shot with random gang, a misfire. A random bullet goes out and takes your baby out in a stroller. Yeah, we want to fix a city. That's so disruptive. Screw this guy. All right, let him finish.
Yeah.
Because that's what that particular party has been about. Right? This is the same political party that did not want to accept that President Obama was actually an American. It's the same Republican right-wing extremism that stormed the Capitol. It's the same right-wing extremism that refuses to accept the results of the Civil War. It's raggedy. What? It's disrespectful. It's mean-spirited. It's an unclean spirit, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's insane.
What was that? Where did that even come from? And then he said raggedy, and then he said, what was the other thing he said? Raggedy and disrespect. Said something strange at the end.
Extremism that refuses to accept the results of the Civil War.
Oh, good Lord.
It's raggedy. It's disrespectful. It's mean-spirited. It's an unclean spirit, quite frankly.
Unclean, raggedy, and
I got
unclean.
you. I just want to make sure that people understand what we're facing.
Oh, we understand.
Yeah, we understand. It's got nothing to do with race. It's these liberal policies that have destroyed so many of these major cities, and he's trying to act like it's some kind of a racist thing, or that it's the right-wing extremists that had something to do with it. It's amazing that they're trying to. It's quite a reach, but if they can get their own followers to believe it, I guess that's what they want to believe. So yeah, they'd like to just shut down their opposition on Twitter, I'm sure as well.
they're trying to, the people that support President Trump are trying to make this country great. You're trying to clean it up. You're trying to paint it. You're trying to get rid of, fix the landscaping. You want less crime in your streets. You want kids to be able to graduate and they can learn how to read and balance a checkbook and survive on their own, not on the government dole. We want success. This guy is instantly at the top of my dislike list. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I've only got about 2 minutes left, so let's go a little farther north from Chicago to Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Oh, I was going to the other place. Okay.
We're going to do Ireland. Well, that's another one. I just don't have enough time. I got 2 minutes, so we're going to have to run here. Speaking of violence and many things and dishonest hacks in the media, got disgusting liberal gun-grabbing Piers Morgan asking Kyle Rittenhouse, who's got PTSD, how he feels after killing 2 human beings and wounding a third and making money out of it. So it's, yes, in a recent unsettling interview, he's got a lot of unsettling interviews. He's one of the most disingenuous people on the planet. And the way that he's, framing this and going after the 20-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, who, obviously feels awful. He was put in that, in a terrible situation there with all the leftists that are freaking out, burning the city down because of Jacob Blake, a career criminal, was shot by the police. And so Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked and shot people in self-defense, 2 of them. And they were actually criminals. That's the thing. The thing that,
shot 3 of them.
Piers Morgan should know, probably does know, but he's not going to mention is that, yes, one of this guy here, Joseph Rosenbaum, one of the victims, was air quote crazy criminal. Yes. Bad news, who had a criminal record. He can't even get into all of it. But sorry, no offense, probably better off not on the planet anymore. Career criminal. Then you've got
he abused children, right? He was that one.
Yeah, he was like a pedo. I mean, he was abused himself, and it's a sad story. But the fact is, it's not like they were upstanding citizens that were killed.
They went there to cause problems. He was yelling, "End this, end that, end you." Like he kept dropping N bombs. It's like, bro. Please.
Yeah, it was all kinds of bad. So, I mean, why can't not that Piers Morgan is going to stand up and actually mention those facts? No, he's just going to act like, Kyle Rittenhouse just randomly shot innocent people, and now he's going to write a book about it and make a fortune. They wanted to, put him in jail for the rest of his life, and they were even targeting people that donated to him.
And that really was the Second Amendment on trial, maybe for the first time in our nation's history. Maybe in the most profound way, the entire Second Amendment right to self-defense was on trial.
Yeah, absolutely. Landmark case. But yeah, they really tried to really frame that as, yes, he was just a right-wing monster, just mowing down innocent, peaceful activists in Kenosha. So, but anyway, yeah, Anthony Huber, who attacked him with the skateboard, was also a domestic abuse repeater, domestic abuse, drug strangulation, felony imprisonment with a dangerous weapon. And then you've got Gage Grosskreutz, who survived, shot in the arm, but he also had a gun and aimed it at Kyle Rittenhouse. So,
and in slow motion, Blake, if you watch that Gage incident. He was on his back. Rittenhouse was. The guy was in front of him. He aimed up at him, and then when the guy backed off, he lowered he lowered it a little bit. Then when the gun came out and started aiming at him, that's when he drew and when he fired his weapon when he had his discharge. I mean, it was fantastic control over his tool. It really was amazing, frame by frame. He didn't do anything he didn't have to do. He didn't have to get attacked by these random people.
All right, Brian. I agree. I wish I had a little more time to go into all of the details. We'll have to wait until next week and see because this is a huge bombshell news day. But unfortunately, I do have to cut out early again.
Okay.
But
I have the
you can
article.
carry us out. I just gave you the one. We covered most of it. We did cover the problems in Ireland in detail a couple days ago, and it's interesting how they're now they're trying to say Irish lives matter. Well, I'll let you cover that, Brian, and whatever else you wanted to discuss. But I am going to have to depart. So, but thank you very much, everybody, and look forward to doing it again next time. And of course, also on the show tomorrow, we should be back for the Friday Night Power Trio with Mike Barra and Dr. Brooks Agnew. So maybe I'll see some of you guys there. Thanks, Deb and Jocelyn and everybody. Great to see everybody again, and we'll look forward to doing it again next time. I'm out. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Blake. To be continued. There he goes, everybody. The Next Level News and on X at TV's Blake Walley. All right. This was, this will be a follow-up to our Tuesday show. It was about Europe revolting against mass migration. I mean, the easiest way, like I said, to describe it as a bartender is just to say that there are recipes, and each place has a recipe. Ireland has a recipe. The United States has a recipe. Canada has a recipe. Brazil has a recipe. Pick your country. There's a recipe for your country. But when you start overwhelming it with too much of anything, doesn't matter what the thing is, too much of anything changes the recipe. And that's what the World Economic Forum wants. That's what the globalists want. They want to loot, they want to tear down statues. They want to rename the roads. They want to, everything that came before is trash, and we're going to rebuild a new area, insert country name here. That's their goal. And that's what's happening with this mass migration. This isn't accidental. This isn't organic. This is planned. This is funded. And this is wrong. And so in Ireland, and you're seeing it in France, you're seeing it in Spain, you're seeing it in America, you're seeing it in Canada. Man, that new guy that's running to take Trudeau's job, that guy seems fantastic. I forget his name off the top of my head. Now, also something we did not cover, the new, president of Argentina, prime minister, the new leader of Argentina, he's been taking some interesting meetings. He's meeting with Bill Clinton. He's meeting with an Obama era flunky. Some real concerns that he might be controlled opposition. The Javier Milei, it sounded nice, some of the things that got him into the office, but to instantly start taking some of the meetings that he's taken, it's concerning at the least. So, everything is a developing story. Like we said with Henry Kissinger, it's, it can be a little complicated. Legacy. Is it all evil? Oh, there's tons of evil, but it was a brilliant, sharp man, and there's a lot to unpack. It's I don't know. It's tempting to just want to dump on somebody, but, it's a mixed bag. Anyway, I digress. But back to Ireland here. This is from the Gateway Pundit. This is an article Blake shared before he bounced today. He said, Irish Lives Matter slogan is now deemed racist. Northern Ireland police investigate this as a hate crime. Quote, we are treating the matter as a hate incident. So saying that Irish lives matter is hateful. Huh. Wow, this really is Orwellian. This really is 1984 come to life. Wow. The landscape of Northern Ireland's societal tensions has been marred by signage and graffiti, leading to a police investigation as authorities labeled the slogan Irish Lives Matter to be potentially racist and a hate incident. A sign was spotted near Tildarg Avenue in Belfast, declaring the community's objection to the rehousing of illegal aliens or immigrants, as reported by the BBC. This move by local residents highlights the issue of immigration that has been gnawing at the fabric of Irish society. What's this? NIHE and private landlords take note. Suffolk will no longer accept the rehousing of illegal immigrants or it's blurred out, of other communities. I don't know what that says. Moreover, the Kennedy Center on Falls Road was defaced with graffiti reading Irish Lives Matter, echoing the global Black Lives Matter movement. There you go. Irish Lives Matter. Because don't they? These incidents have drawn sharp criticism from far-left political leaders and woke community activists who do not represent the people of Ireland. Jerry Carroll from the People Before Profit Party condemned the slogan as racist poison, stressing that it undermines the struggle. Is Irish a race? It's a culture. It's a country. It's a race of Irish. As a racist poison, stressing that it undermines the struggles of Black people and other ethnic minorities. So talking about the Irish is racist. Make it make sense, people. Quote, "We are under no illusions that Irish Lives Matter is a racist slogan which is directly counterpoised to movements against the oppression faced by Black people and other ethnic minorities," he said to be per BBC. Sinn Féin MP Paul Maskey echoed these sentiments, labeling the signs as disgraceful and intended to intimidate and create fear. That's an interesting take, because it kind of seems like the signs were intended to call to attention that the Irish people matter, that their lives matter, and that the people who are not addressing their needs need to pay attention to that. What an odd take from this Paul Maskey. Political and community leaders must stand together to continue building a safe, welcoming, and inclusive society for all. Political and community leaders must stand together to continue building a safe, welcoming, and inclusive society for the Irish. What does that mean for all? If you don't have a ticket to the movie theater, you don't need to be in the movie theater. If you're not dining in the theater, it's not, or if you're not dining in the restaurant, there's no standing together to make a welcoming, inclusive society for people not dining in your movie theater. These are people who are breaking into your country. Welcoming to people breaking into your country illegally? No, thank you. Grania Long, chief executive of the Housing Executive, that doesn't seem right, emphasized that such incidents do not reflect the local community's values. The Irish community isn't saying that you're not listening to our community. Yes, they are. And their values are saying that you're not representing us, and we demand that you represent us. This Grania Long says she reassured that housing allocations would continue to be fair and in line with existing rules. How is it fair to sneak into a place and demand things? That's not fair. That's not fair to the residents of anywhere. You break into a college dorm room, you don't have a right to sleep there. You need to be escorted to jail. Someone breaks into your home. You don't have a right to be there. Inspector Andrew Matson of the Police Service of Northern Ireland, PSNI, stated that they are treating the matter as a hate incident. He urged anyone with information about the sign's erection to contact the police. They are treating the matter as a hate incident. Caring about the Irish is now hateful. Wow. Where was that energy the past few years? Our local neighborhood policing team have been undertaking inquiries in the area, and anyone who has information regarding the erection of the notices is asked to contact police on 101. Quoting reference number, blah, blah, blah. Alternately, you can report online. Wow. That is how much they care about the Irish. They don't. They want you to go away. They want you to sit down and shut up. They want you to just smile and take it. Bend over. Hold your ankles, please. This development in Belfast has apparently resonated the echoes of recent anti-immigration riots. Actually, these are anti-illegal immigration riots in the Republic of Ireland's capital. Or mass immigration riots, rather. Yes, the guy that did the stabbing and 3 children and 2 adults, he was granted citizenship, but the people of Ireland are saying, why? There were lots of reports that this guy should have been removed a long time ago. Reports that this guy's not contributed anything to society, and he's been taking from the people, literally reaching in their pockets and taking money from them through public programs, taking their money, when that money should be spent on the residents of Ireland. Why? Where is the value to the Irish society to bring in somebody that's going to take money out of their pocket? That doesn't make any sense. That's why they're saying the Irish lives matter, because you're prioritizing a thief over the people of Ireland. Resonated the echoes of recent anti-immigration riots in the Republic of Ireland's capital, revealing a wider spectrum of social unrest in the region. There we go. 5 people, including children, were stabbed near a school in Dublin, Ireland on Thursday by a suspect. You haven't released the identity of the suspect? Good Lord, what is wrong with you people? This is just like the hockey killer, Matt Petgrave. Half the reports you read wouldn't say his name. Say his name, Matt Petgrave. The kid gloves that are used to shelter bad people make no sense to me. Oh yeah, there was something on Twitter that I shared about some official was saying the gentleman that did the stabbing, blah, 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 blah. Luckily there were a couple of women who subdued him. Otherwise, the people around he might have met a much worse fate. I'm sorry, you're calling this animal a gentleman? And you're thankful that people protected him from the townspeople that were going to tear him limb from limb? Where is the plus to the Irish society for this gentleman to not meet an instant fate in self-defense of a madman butchering people? I think there's one of them still in severe condition, critical condition, is my understanding. That doesn't improve a society. The Irish people are left to say, hey, our lives matter. What's wrong with you? We matter the most. We're in Ireland. Following the attack, 5-time world champion MMA fighter and Irishman Conor McGregor weighed in on the vicious assault of the innocent children. After news of the stabbing broke, Conor McGregor posted, "Ireland, we are at war." The Gateway pundit previously reported that the Irish police force, known as the Gardaí, is currently evaluating McGregor's social media posts as part of an investigation into the spread of online hate speech. Ireland's media minister, Catherine Martin, called on the public to report any hate speech, air quote, hate speech online for potential prosecution under their new speech laws. Under their new speech laws. The decision to classify Irish Lives Matter has sparked outrage among conservatives in the United States. Hosting columnist Oran McIntyre wrote on X, "If saying Irish Lives Matter in Ireland is a hate crime, that's the definition of a conquered nation." Yep. That is so true. Chaya Rychek of Libs of TikTok wrote, "Ireland is turning on its own citizens. Irish Lives Matter is now a hate crime." That's so absurd. Oh, okay. So End Wokeness posts this. This guy over here says, "I'd like to see that." Well, did they explain this? There we go. Meanwhile, an immigrant politician from the city of Limerick at a council meeting this week called for the execution of the individuals involved in last week's Dublin protests. Wow. That's a gutsy maneuver. The Limerick Post revealed that the Limerick City and County Council LCCC member Abu Kalam, oh geez, there's more. Abu Kalam Azad Talukder. Hang on, let me try it again. Abu Kalam Azad Talukder, who immigrated from Bangladesh in 2000, responded with genuinely sick comments on Monday. He called the people involved in the protests criminals who should be shot in the head. He says, "I'd like to see them shot in the head." Oh my God. He'd like that. So End Wokeness says, guess which one is under investigation for hate speech? This one? They're saying that Irish Lives Matter, exclamation point. Europe has fallen. It is time to stand up. Wow. Europe has fallen, and it's time to stand up. Well, guess what? This is coming to America. 10 million people flooding across the border. That's more than, 31 states in the nation? This is vastly changing. You know, when you're a bartender, and you're making a martini, let's just say a martini, gin or vodka martini, you do a splash of vermouth. right? Dry vermouth, a splash. Maybe you'll put a splash in, and then you'll take the martini glass and twist it so that it kind of coats the edge of the glass, just a hint of vermouth. Then you shake your gin or shake your vodka, you pour it in. Maybe a dirty martini, you'll put some olive juice in. If you pour out 2 shots of dry vermouth into your cup, into your martini glass, and then add your gin or vodka, number one, you don't have room for your gin or vodka anymore because it's kind of measured out. You got your 2 ounces or so, 2.5 ounces. You shake it, and it adds the melted ice to it kind of gets you to the right level. You had 2 shots in the jigger of that into your martini glass. You're not going to have room for your vodka or your gin. By the way, whatever you are left with, that's not going to taste like the martini that you asked for. You're going to have a vermouthy mess. And the same goes for Americans migrating to other countries. A little bit of flavor is a really cool thing. And especially if you're polite, respectful, you're not stealing, you're not committing crimes, you're not taking from their country, from their cities. You're not going there and demanding, I want free stuff, I want free food, I want free housing. Piss off. If some people leave the United States and go to other countries, and they do it the right way, they go to the port of entry, they wait their turn in line, they go through the process, and they want to become a citizen, and they learn the culture, they learn the language, they take the civics test, they decide that they're going to want to be here for the right reasons, and they're contributing, and they stay for X amount of years, a decade. So, you have a temporary visa for 10 years, 20 years, as long as you're not causing a problem. Guess what? You're kind of earning your right in. You don't storm through the back door and start going through their refrigerator to make a sandwich. How dare you? This has been happening across the globe. It's changing the drinks that people are ordering. And it has to stop. It has to be reversed. You can't work with a Manhattan. I'm sorry, I keep saying Manhattan martini. You can't make that drink. You can't make that martini with what you have. You have to dump it back out. And then you have to make a new one and pour it in. There have to be mass deportations. The makeup of these places currently exists. It's either an invasion or it's a respectful partnership. If you want to be here, well, look, there's conditions to wanting to be here. It's just like if you start a new job, it's like, okay, cool. Well, all right, let's get it started. You're on a 30-day probation period, 60-day probationary period, 90-day probationary period. Is that 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years as an immigrant doing it the right way? Well, guess what? If you commit egregious acts, if you're in that country committing crimes, you're booted. See ya. You're kicked out of the company. We have a company. We have a culture. We like our company. We like our culture. You want to be a part of it? You got to earn it. You don't just get to storm in the back door and start going through filing cabinets. You don't just get to pull out the petty cash fund and, run out to the store to get you some supplies. Run up to Taco Bell and come back with a bag of food with our money. Like, no. Nobody wants that. The World Economic Forum wants that. We don't want that. The globalists want that. We don't want that. No matter where you are, you can either go in respectfully or you could do the opposite. So, strange times. Strange times in Ireland. Indeed. Irish Lives Matter is a potential hate crime. Conor McGregor might get imprisoned for saying they're at war. Well, what else is it called when the sovereignty of your nation is being usurped in a treasonous act? It's treason to overthrow your country. That's not what Conor McGregor is doing. It's what the people that are allowing this to happen are doing. It's theft. It's dereliction of duty. There are penalties. There are political ramifications. When you get into treason, it gets a lot more serious than a slap on the wrist. These people who are participating in this, you know, they knew they knew what they were getting into. And I'm not going to have any sympathy when it's their time for judgment. Zero sympathy. And I just hope it happens sooner rather than later. That guy in Chicago, all of those awful things that mayor of Chicago said about MAGA patriots. It's like they want to fix things up, clean things up, and make things safer. Y'all are trying to wreck things. Look at Chicago, Chirac. Look at San Francisco, shithole. Look at New York. Need I say more? Look at these big cities and look what's happened to them. Great architecture, just really neat places. And they're places that I don't have any interest in going to see and spend money in anymore because they're too dangerous with the junkies on the streets, the gangs out of control, the criminals running wild and free because nobody is policing. Because why? So, I don't know. Anyway, Irish Lives Matter, a hate crime. That's hilarious. Thank you for watching today's episode of the Agree to Disagree Show. My name is Brian Engelman. Follow the Agree to Disagree Show on Telegram. Search TNAM and TNAM Chat. Go on Truth Social, the New American Media. Spotify, the Agree to Disagree Show. Rumble, the New American Media. X, at American_media_. On Facebook, search the Agree to Disagree Show, private group. Search on Instagram, instagram.com/the New American Media. On behalf of Blake Walley and his The Next Level News and as X profile at TV's Blake Walley, I am signing out for today, Thursday, November 30th, 2023. I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk to you again soon. As soon as we get the link, by the way, we are going to try to tweet out a message. We're supposed to be doing an interview today with the Talking with Timo show, 8:15 p.m. Interesting to see how that'll go. Just got to kind of figure out some details. If there's a link where you can watch live, we'll tweet it out. So follow us at American_media_ and at TV's Blake Walley. All right. Till next time.